Morning, I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We're going to begin this morning with that attack in Colorado. 8 people injured, and the investigation is getting underway.
This incident happened yesterday afternoon in downtown Boulder during a march to support Israeli hostages who are being held by Hamas. The suspect has been identified as 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Soliman. He is now facing several charges, including first-degree assault. He's being held on $10 million bond. Police say witnesses reported he used a makeshift flamethrower and threw an incendiary device into the crowd. He was also heard saying "Free Palestine" during the attack. The victims are between 52 and 88 years old, and the FBI says the incident is being investigated as an act of terrorism. We have team coverage ahead this hour, including analysis from NBC News law enforcement analyst Jim Kavanaugh. Let's begin, though, with NBC News correspondent Alice Barr, who has the very latest. Alice, good morning.
Joe and Savannah, good morning. And we are learning this morning that the suspect has now been charged with first-degree murder. That's according to the Boulder County Sheriff's Office daily booking sheet. Important to note, though, that authorities have not confirmed formally that anyone died in the attack, and there's been no update on the condition of the other injured victims. We're working to track down more details as the investigation continues.
This morning, a painful recovery for 8 victims and an entire community after investigators say a man used a makeshift flamethrower and shouted "Free Palestine" during an attack in Boulder, Colorado, on a march calling for the return of Israeli hostages still held in Gaza.
It is clear that this is a targeted act of violence, and the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism.
Videos from the scene show a man shouting and waving bottles filled with some kind of liquid. Authorities now identifying the suspect as 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Soliman. 2 senior law enforcement officials say he's an Egyptian national and that while the investigation is in the early stages, he appears to have acted alone. Police arrested him at the scene.
And they immediately ran into a chaotic situation where a man was throwing Molotov cocktails and using other devices to hurt people.
Witnesses joined in, rushing to help the victims between the ages of 52 to 88, some with very serious burns.
I was just like, how can I help? And they had like really bad burns all up on their legs. And then I went over to this other grass area that was like right by the front entrance. And there were some people, there was another lady on the ground with really bad burns on her legs, just like screaming.
The attack follows the deadly shooting less than 2 weeks ago of 2 Israeli embassy staff members in Washington, D.C., after which investigators say the suspect shouted that he did it for Gaza. And as the war there between Israel and Hamas drags on, both anti-Semitic and anti-Muslim hate crimes are on the rise.
A senior White House official says that President Trump has been briefed on the attack as Colorado officials, including the governor, condemned the violence, saying the suspect should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Joe?
All right, Alice, thank you.
NBC News law enforcement analyst Jim Kavanaugh joins us now for more on this. Jim, good morning. Thank you very much for being here. So this attack happened in a busy downtown area. For context, I mean, I went to the University of Colorado Boulder. Besides the campus, this is like the heartbeat of the town, and much of this is actually just a pedestrian walkway. This was where this march was happening to support Israeli hostages being held by Hamas. Walk us through specifically how acts of terrorism are investigated. That is what this has been said to be being investigated as. How are police working to piece together what happened?
Yeah, well, it's right in front of our face, Savannah. And as you point out, in the center of Boulder, the building behind the attacker in the video is the courthouse. And, you know, I think what's important here to note in the investigation, as we're discussing, he doesn't run. He doesn't try to get away. This is a guy who's not trying to run away. And, you know, for anybody who says, well, we don't know what the motive is, it's in our face. He's throwing it right at us. He's attacking the Jewish citizens who are walking for hostages, and the target is part of motive. And he's yelling "Free Palestine" and, you know, anti-Semitic statements. It's right in front of us. So it's a hate crime, it's a terror crime, and it's ice cold-blooded murder. And the district attorney has charged 2 counts of murder this morning. We didn't know that last night, that any victims had died, but now they have charged 2 counts of murder. And, you know, other counts of attempted murder and assault and using a weapon. So when we watched the video, it was pretty clear Here's the assailant. He's got 2 carafes of what we now know is a flammable liquid, clear flammable liquid, most likely gasoline, could be something else, kerosene, or could be something else. And he's got a backpack sprayer behind him. That was probably his improvised flamethrower.
That's right. And Jim, as you mentioned, NBC News reporting that the man has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. A Colorado authorities said early today. We're going to try and get more information on that. We mentioned this suspect has been identified as Mohammed Sabri Soliman. Senior law enforcement officials say he's an Egyptian national with no prior significant contact with law enforcement. They also say an initial review of what's believed to be a social media account just didn't show anything that points to this attack or a specific ideology. So with that in mind, what will investigators look for here?
Well, they're going to be looking for connections, not only in the U.S., but in Egypt. They're going to see if he's part of a group. Was he ever interacting with any other group that's involved with Palestine? Or is he just taking this on as, a fellow countryman or Arab or person who sympathized with the situation in Gaza? So they'll be looking at all those connections. They'll be looking at the immigration status. He was overstayed his visa. He wouldn't have been able to buy a firearm or anything because he would be illegally in the country. But he, used these improvised weapons. It's interesting to note, just to think about, that a flamethrower does not fall under federal law, as a destructive device or bomb. And, our congressional leaders and staffers up there should think about that. They had a sentence for us, putting a flamethrower under the National Firearms Act, the section on bombs and grenades, where we could interrupt things like that, maybe catch somebody making one or in possession of one. It would really help. Maybe that's something that could be bipartisan, regulating flamethrowers. We would hope so. But anyway, Molotov cocktails have been strictly regulated for 90 years. So we'll have those federal charges, lots of state charges. This guy's the ultimate poltroon and coward. And those citizens who were walking and everybody who helped them and the Boulder police are the ones with the courage and the bravery yesterday. Mm-hmm.
Jim Kavanaugh, thank you, as always, for your expertise in joining us this morning.
President Trump said over the weekend he's pulling the nomination of billionaire Jared Isaacman as NASA administrator. He cited what he calls a thorough review of prior associations. Isaacman visited space twice on commercial missions that he funded himself. NBC News White House correspondent Yamiche Alcindor joins us now. Let's start there, Yamiche. What can you tell us about this move by the president to rescind this nomination, and how's Isaacman responding?
Well, it is striking that he is pulling this nomination. He hasn't pulled many others. So it tells you that this is something that really was something that he put some thought into and really didn't believe that he could be confirmed into this job. We also are hearing from Isaacman. I want to read to you part of what he said. He said, "I have gained a much deeper appreciation for the complexities of government and the weight of our political leaders. It may not always be obvious through the discourse and turbulence, but there are many competent, dedicated people who love this country and care deeply about the mission." He also said, "That was on full display during my hearing, where leaders on both sides of the aisle made clear they're willing to fight for the world's most accomplished space agency." So very interesting that he is both sort of pointing to the idea that he learned a lot from this experience, but also pointing to the bipartisan nature of the pushback against him. Joe?
Let's move on to some other news here, Yamiche. NBC also learning the president's intelligence chief, Tulsi Gabbard, exploring ways to try and revamp his routine intelligence briefing. That's according to 5 people with knowledge of discussions. What's going on here? What are we hearing?
Well, our colleagues who reported this story are reporting that the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is looking at ways to tailor the presidential daily briefing for President Trump. This is something that most presidents take every day. He's taken it about 14 times, they reported, since coming into office. And what's striking here is that they're really trying to, in some ways, the top aides to President Trump are trying to think of ways for him to consume it in a way that maybe is more beneficial for him. So one of the things under discussion is actually turning it into a video that mimics in big ways Fox News broadcasts, which is one way that officials are looking at possibly getting him to sort of consume the information. They're also looking at other things, like maybe including less less text and more graphics. That was done during his first term. There's also some talk of whether or not he might change this altogether and maybe make it less daily and more in the way that he's been wanting to consume it, which has not been in the amount of times that other presidents have done it. Now, the White House is pushing back on this. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence is also pushing back on this reporting. But as you said, our colleagues have many, many sources who are telling us that this is something that is being looked into, that Tulsi Gabbard in particular is talking to experts inside and outside of the administration to think about ways to tailor this briefing so that President Trump can take in this information in a different way.
Yamiche, one more thing to talk about. Over the weekend, we saw the president repost another baseless conspiracy theory on Truth Social. This time, it was about former President Biden. And normally, we may not want to share such outlandish misinformation with our viewers, but the president does have nearly 10 million followers on social media, so it's on Truth Social, so it's important to set the record straight. Tell us, what did he say this time, and what kind of pushback are we seeing?
And I'll echo your caution here because we don't usually repeat something that is so outlandish and baseless. But the president reposted an online post without context, by the way. He didn't add any commentary to it. But the person that he reposted said that former President Biden had been executed and that he was actually replaced with clones and robots that were doing the job for him. Again, this is, of course, completely unfounded. President Biden has also been clear. Not only is he dealing with sort of the challenges of being out of office, but there's also this idea that the president is also dealing with prostate cancer right now and going through treatment for that. So it's really not only a baseless claim, but also a claim that it's attacking someone who is going through a real health crisis. We don't know why President Trump reposted this. The White House is declining to comment, but this is not, of course, the first time that he's reposted baseless claims, and I'm sure it will not be the last. But President Trump has not been shy about spreading conspiracy theories in some ways. It largely, in some ways, at least partly, if not largely, got him elected because a lot of his supporters do believe in the things that he says, whether they're baseless or true. So just another, I think, a chapter of President Trump saying something that just is not true, unfortunately.
All right, Yamiche,
Joe.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Well, in economic news, trade tensions between the U.S. and China appear to be worsening again. This is after Beijing pushed back against claims by Washington that it had broken last month's Geneva agreement, which paused tariffs for 90 days.
President Trump made the accusations on Friday. Then Beijing hit back overnight, calling the claims groundless. All this comes after the president announced that he is doubling import tariffs on steel and aluminum to 50%. Those new hikes slated to start on Wednesday.
NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung joins us this morning. Of course, Brian, good morning. So just give us more detail here. What exactly the president is accusing Beijing of in their response?
Yeah, well, you'll recall that about 3 weeks ago, we thought that there had been a substantial de-escalation of the conversation between the United States and China after those conversations in Geneva, Switzerland, where the United States lowered the tariff rate from 145% to 30%, China doing the same in kind. But now here we are again with apparently talks breaking down between the United States and China. The Ministry of Commerce on the Chinese side putting out a statement over the weekend saying that they're disappointed with what the United States has done on issuing export controls on AI chips going to China. They also said that there was a stopping of the sale of chip-designed software to China, and they're unhappy about the revocation of Chinese student visas. And for that reason, they're also describing the conversation as having deteriorated, with the United States. Now, Kevin Hassett, a top economic advisor to the president, has suggested that there could be a call as soon as this week between President Trump and President Xi Jinping. Take a listen to what Hassett said on ABC this weekend.
President Trump, we expect, is going to have a wonderful conversation about the trade negotiations this week with President Xi. That's our expectation. I'm not sure if it's been scheduled at a specific date, but it has been discussed that the two of them will talk about the Geneva agreement.
So it is going to happen this week, though? You're sure of that?
I'm not sure, George, because you never know in international relations. But my expectation is that both sides have expressed a willingness to talk.
So here at the beginning of that clip that we just played, he said there's going to be this phone call later on this week. But then he said, you know how international relations go. We don't really know for sure. But again, we'll see what this week plays out, whether or not that phone call happens.
And speaking of this week, we've got now the doubling of the tariffs on steel and aluminum. Talk about that and what the impact of that could be.
Yeah, so the tariffs had been in effect on steel and aluminum. This was not part of the, let's say, for example, the legal proceedings that we saw last week. Again, these types of Section 232 tariffs, without getting into it, were not impacted by that. But the president making a speech at a rally in Pennsylvania outside of Pittsburgh, where he was touting this $15 billion deal between Nippon Steel, the Japanese steel company that has been very controversially trying to get tied up with U.S. Steel, which the president greenlit essentially last week. He said that he was going to raise the tariffs to 50% to protect that new agreement, also to protect American steelworkers. But again, you have this concern here now that the top exporters to the United States that are outside of that agreement, like Canada, the European Union, and Brazil, what will they do in response to these tariff rates going up effective on Wednesday? The European Union already saying, guys, that they do plan on retaliatory measures if needed.
And Brian, tell us how markets are reacting, what this means for consumers to keep living through this uncertainty.
Yeah, well, here we are again with the start of market open in just a few hours, and it seems like Dow futures are in the red right now. We'll see what the trading day does bring us. But of course, as we've seen the story over the past few months and since inauguration, when tariff rates are ratcheted up, we see the stock market go down. When tariff rates go down, we see the stock market go back up. So again, we'll see what the week plays out, but it would be a very, very busy week in terms of headlines I expect on the tariff front.
All right, Brian, thank you.
Congress returns to Washington this week with a growing number of senators threatening to block President Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill. The House passed that massive tax cut and spending package last month. It's now facing pushback in the Senate over concerns about cuts to Medicaid and the impact on the national debt. If senators demand changes, the bill goes back to the House, and that could potentially delay House Speaker Mike Johnson's goal of getting the bill on Mr. Trump's desk by the 4th of July. NBC News Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker interviewed Speaker Johnson and asked him if Republicans can overcome their differences.
Hello there, Joe and Savannah. This week on Meet the Press, I spoke to House Speaker Mike Johnson about criticism he faced from Elon Musk over the big, beautiful bill that passed the House.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing.
And Mr. Speaker, a number of Senate Republicans share Elon Musk's concerns that it will add to the debt and deficit. So how do you convince your Republican Senate colleagues to get on board and support this bill?
Well, I convinced my friends and colleagues by use of the facts. I sent a long text message to my good friend Elon Musk after he made those comments the other day to explain this is not a spending bill. This is a reconciliation package. It is reconciling a budget. So there is some additional spending, as you noted earlier at the opening, for national security, for historic investments in border security, the largest in generations, because those are necessary expenditures. But what my friends are missing is the tremendous and historic level of spending cuts that are also in the same package.
You can see my full interview and a whole lot more at MeetThePress.com. You can also get more Meet the Press right here on NBC News Now every weekday at 4 p.m.
Kristen, thank you.
For more on what is happening in Congress this week, let's bring in NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Julie Sirkin. Julie, good morning. So this July 4th deadline gives lawmakers just over a month to try to get this bill ready for President Trump's signature. And like we said, more Senate Republicans are coming out against it. Who wants to see changes?
Yeah, hey, good morning, Savannah. Look, they have 4 weeks to get this bill passed in the Senate because Speaker Mike Johnson and the president set that July 4th deadline for when they want to see this package signed into law. The problem is, as you point out, many Senate Republicans want to change it. So the Senate Majority Leader, top Republican John Thune, is going to have to haggle essentially between those Republicans like Josh Hawley, who wants to see changes to the Medicaid work requirements, to some of the other Medicaid enforcements that House Republicans put in place. Rand Paul, he told me that the way that this bill contributes to the deficit, he will never vote for it, no matter how much pressure the president puts on him. Then you have Senators Lisa Murkowski, other Republicans who come from states that are heavy energy producers. They want to see some of those clean energy tax credits that were phased out by House Republicans back in this legislation. So a lot of different Senate Republicans who want to change a lot of different things. It's going to be up to John Thune and his leadership team to try and make sure it's not changed too much so then it has problems in the House.
Julie, the changes to Medicaid are one of the toughest policies for Republicans to defend right now. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have been expressing concerns about the addition of work requirements, new rules, more paperwork. It makes it more challenging for people to qualify, especially at a time when just the conversation around health insurance generally in this country has really led to a lot of frustration. How is Speaker Mike Johnson trying to defend this?
It's a challenging position for Johnson to defend, especially when you look at the majority of the states where people rely on these benefits. They come from rural red areas that Republicans represent. This is a lot harder for Senate Republicans to swallow, even more so than vulnerable House Republicans, because remember, they represent entire states. And so you have a lot less appetite politically and practically for the Senate. Mike Johnson, for his part, though, to your point, Savannah, defending this with Kristen Welker. Yesterday, you heard her talk about this a little little bit, but he called these work requirements 20 hours per week, 80 hours per month, volunteer time, working, other things as well. He called these common sense. He said the millions of Americans that the Congressional Budget Office predicts will lose their health insurance coverage, won't lose it if they just follow along with these steps. So he's saying this is all about waste, fraud, and abuse, and that they're not cutting Medicaid. It's hard for them. It's hard for the American people to buy that, though.
Julie, on Friday, Senator Joni Ernst faced some angry voters in her home state of Iowa. I want to talk about this because some of the sound here is pretty stunning. She was defending cuts to benefits like we're talking about here, Medicaid, SNAP, things like that, particularly, though, when it comes to people who are undocumented. First, let's play a little bit of it.
They are not eligible, so they will be coming off. So people are not, well, we all are going to die.
Julie, what is Senator Ernst saying about this?
Yeah, the ad just practically writes itself, and she is up for re-election in 2026. Like I said, a huge issue politically for Republicans. She did double down on her comments, though, posting a video on social media over the weekend from a cemetery. Watch this.
I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well.
We'll see if her sarcastic response there works. But again, huge issue for Republicans. We'll see if they can get this done and keep those Medicaid changes in the legislation.
A lot going on the Hill, as always. Julie, thank you.
Parts of the upper Midwest are under air quality alerts today as more than 90 wildfires burn across central Canada. Canadian officials say the fires are out of control. Roughly 17,000 people have been forced to evacuate in central Manitoba County. That smoke is now reaching the U.S. The National Weather Service here says some Americans may notice a campfire smell, hazy skies, and potentially redder sunsets and sunrises. The agency is issuing a warning for people in sensitive groups. We're talking about pregnant women, newborns, older adults, and those with respiratory or heart problems. They should all limit their time outdoors in these areas. Some of the most affected states over the weekend: Minnesota, Wisconsin, and North and South Dakota.
Well, if wildfires aren't enough, this week also marks the official start of the Atlantic hurricane season. Last year, Hurricanes Helene and Milton showed that storms can bring devastation hundreds of miles away from landfall. And now forecasters want more people to prepare evacuation plans. Even those who don't live on the coast. Meteorologist Chase Kane explains how climate change is putting more Americans at risk of flooding from hurricanes.
Hurricane Ian intensified rapidly in 2022. Climate change supercharged the Category 4 storm, which reshaped both the shoreline and people's perceptions of hurricanes. Florida State researchers found nearly half of evacuees left only hours before landfall, despite a remarkably accurate forecast from the National Hurricane Center.
And I wish we would have evacuated even earlier than just the day or the hour, that morning of.
So you feel like the communication about evacuations could have been better or different?
Just a little better. And it really got down to the point where, okay, we were watching the news and said, mandatory to get out.
The storm is headed right to us.
Linda told me that warning from her local TV meteorologist is what nudged her family to leave, likely saving their lives because they returned to find their entire neighborhood leveled by Ian's storm surge.
Things for me have changed.
John Morales is a veteran meteorologist and hurricane specialist for NBC Miami. And because climate change is helping more hurricanes intensify more quickly, that's changing how he communicates with his viewers.
One of these days, people may not prepare like they should because they'll see the mundane tropical storm, say, oh, it's just, what's the worst that can happen? Maybe it'll be just a Cat 1. Well, one of the things about communicating the threat is those low probability, high impact events need to be talked about on air.
Fortunately, the National Hurricane Center's forecasts continue to improve, setting a record last year for the most accurate forecasts in their 70-year history.
So our ability to see these rapid intensifications has significantly advanced over the last
last several seasons. And even I sometimes am stunned at how rapidly we've progressed in this particular arena.
And those increasingly accurate forecasts from the NHC are important, whether you live right on the coast or even hundreds of miles inland, like the folks flooded by Helene last fall. And that's why heeding evacuation orders and listening to a trusted voice,
look at this eye,
can mean the difference in life and death.
As the threat of inland flooding from a hurricane continues to increase, if you are evacuating away from the coast, it's important to look at those longer forecasts and make sure that you're evacuating somewhere that's out of the path of the storm. I'm meteorologist Chase Kane.
Let's take a look at what to expect this week with your Morning News Now weather.
And today, the Today Show's Al Roker has an update for us. Hey, Al, good morning.
Hey, Joe and Savannah, good Monday morning to you and to all your viewers and friends who are watching. Well, these wildfires in Canada bringing smoke and air quality alerts down to the lower 48. You can see Alpena, Chicago, all the way down to Jackson, Atlanta, where we've got down in the southeast Greenville, we've got air quality alerts, Minnesota, also on into the UP of Michigan. Now we've got another system that's developing in the southwest that's going to be bringing some heavy rain, some showers and thunderstorms. The storms will pick up in the afternoon on into the evening today, tonight. From Sioux Falls all the way down to Hayes, Amarillo, Woodward, we're looking at damaging hail, gusty winds of 65 miles per hour. Low tornado threat, so that's the good news. Tomorrow, these line of storms move from the Midwest all the way down to Texas, and this Gulf moisture is going to be producing heavy rain, possible flooding, because these areas have been seeing rounds of rain over the last at least 7 days. Tomorrow, the severe weather stretches from Cedar Rapids, Springfield, Oklahoma City, Wichita Falls, all the way down to Dallas. Isolated tornadoes can't be ruled out with that damaging hail and winds. And then Wednesday, severe storms, thunderstorms into the Midwest, heavy downpours through Florida. Some places in southern Florida could pick up 3 to 5 inches of rain. And in the Midwest, from Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Dallas, all the way up to Waterloo, we could be looking at anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of rain as well. So we're going to be really tracking this severe weather over the next 72 hours. Joe, Savannah, back to you.
All right, Al, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.